Okay.
Now we're back.
Oh, welcome everybody. We're finally good to go here. We're back in the studio and have run into a plethora of different issues. Unfortunately, my projector doesn't work, so we're that sucked.
Yeah, it's not super great, but we're...
Then Streamlabs didn't want to connect, so... it's been a rough day.
But
We're gonna
here.
get there, though. Yeah,
We did it. Kind
We're
of.
here for you.
I can't say we did it. We got it off the ground.
The mic's on the side.
Oh, it's on the side?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
right
that's
where
okay.
it says mirror. There we go. We
I
got
didn't know
this.
that. And we're winning. This is a winning
Not today. Hello and welcome here to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host, Ian.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
Oh, we're currently streaming Ultramodern 5 Redux.
The fuck? No, you're not. No. I
Three
fixed that.
streams ago. How does that even happen?
Where does it? Oh, come on. Can I edit that while we're live?
You should be able to. Right?
What is that? That's a... Why don't you guys finish up the spiel if you've got
you know
it, because I'm going to fix this. Cause
We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
Our show may not be suitable for young children, as you just heard us Justin cursing.
Or grown adults. We can't even do these things ourselves.
But neither is our D&D games.
Both are still applicable. Young children and grown adults. We can't even play our D&D games.
It is a rough go, guys. It is a rough go.
Oh.
This is the Mythic... What is it? What are we doing?
Mythic Odyssey of Theros. I think that's what it's called. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Theros. There we go.
If you enjoy the show, which, God, I hope you do by this point, and you want to support us, please, we need it. Visit us at critacademy.com and check out our Patreon page. Some of our best-selling D&D supplements, or just subscribe to our newsletter to be entered to win fat loots each and every week.
Yes.
I think that's all we really got, right?
And for all crit...
What up? What
I
did you
just
do?
moved a bunch of shit.
Oh, God.
I am not having a good day.
Just continue. He's got it.
I got this. It's fine. We'll make it. I promise.
Yep.
No, I don't.
And Crit Nation. Today at Crit Academy, where everything is made up and your rolls don't matter.
Yep, that's right. Your worlds are like a Greek-themed world without any demigods.
We need those.
Yes.
We do.
What would we do
We need
without
a-
Zeus fucking everything?
We also need a plethora of demigods to help us in the show today, if you haven't seen it yet.
Oh, God.
I remember he made like a pitch for a movie where this one demigod's like, wait, my dad's Zeus? And he just loved it with my mom? I'm gonna tell him what I think about that. And as he journeys towards Olympus, he keeps running into other demigods.
They all Zeus's kids?
Yes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, that's
Until
funny.
basically end up with a whole army of demigods and jilted lovers at the foot of Olympus.
That's awesome. What is that from?
And it was just someone who pitched a movie idea.
That's a good movie idea.
Wait, someone should do it.
All right, so now that I think we're at least going forward,
I hope so.
we have a really great, interesting episode. We're going to do our best to deliver this content for you. This is the first time I'm delivering content from D&D Beyond format. And I'm going to be honest, while I think D&D Beyond is an amazing tool,
It's not a book.
I much prefer having the book in my hand. I love that I can search through it really quickly and I can access everything. But man, not having a book to just sit on my couch and read really bummed me out. I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
don't
be
know.
honest.
I mean, it's because I work at Barnes & Noble, I guess. But I love having a book in my hand and actually like flipping through it physically.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I miss that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So,
Yeah, I always prefer a physical book myself. So.
For our Let's Talk About Blank segment, we actually have a submission from a Crit Nation member. From, I don't know if it's T or Tia. I think it's T.
Taya, maybe.
Spelled T. So, I'm
Sure.
sorry I slaughtered it.
It's a three-letter name, and we can't even do it. See, this is just we're still on the same theme of what we're doing
Screw it
today.
up. Yeah. Austin, would you like to let everyone know what Tia's question? Should we just settle on something?
Just tea?
Let's go with tea.
Just go with tea.
This might be the beverage tea, actually, that I think about.
Anyway,
yes.
yeah.
So why don't you tell us what the question that has been submitted is?
Sure. It says here, so, for the longest time, I have wanted to create a character based on tales and mythos of Mongolian and or Native American horse riding and archery dominance. It seems pretty simple, right? I was excited to see a Mongolian-inspired human in the Adventurer's Guide to the Sword Coast, the Charon or Twigon, maybe. But despite the lip service, making this type of character is not intuitive. Fighters make good archers.
They do.
Yes.
But adding a rider to a mount in a way that makes the mount just as essential to ranged combat just doesn't seem to be part of 5e. The mounted aspect of the Cavalier is melee-based. So what do you think? Is there a way to make this type of character where the way a dex-based archer can use a mount is significant to how the character is played without just saying, here's a fighter on a horse with high dex and animal handling?
Carmageddon says 3-letter name is 2 letters too much.
Oh, man.
You're not wrong. So this is an interesting question. I have my own thoughts before I give them. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
I mean, I've never really used a character in Mythic Combat before, so I never really thought about it.
See, because that's another thing about it, too. The reason you don't think about it is because there's nothing to service for it, I feel like.
I mean, you
like, they
get
say
the lance,
it's there, but
it's not
then
an archer.
beyond that, there's, like, nothing, like, there's no, like, rulings for mounted combat as far as I'm aware.
There's a few. There's like a paragraph or something.
But it's still not, like...
I mean, for the most part, you get like a higher move speed where you're on the creature, and
That's
That's pretty
yeah,
much
that's it. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know. And then on top of that, I don't know. It's just, it's not like the forefront of like something they're trying to promote. It's like it's there
Yes.
if you look
it
for it.
exists.
Yeah. So if you're going for the archer, he does make a good point. The fighting style for the +2 archery plus the extra attack plus the action surge makes for a pretty damn good archer. You could almost argue
Yeah.
better than the ranger.
I'd even agree. Yeah.
Yep.
Fighters, archers are
I
wild.
think a friend of mine said one of the highest DPS in the game is a heavy crossbow fighter.
Yes.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And
Not even a little.
there's a lot of features. So here's my take on it. First of all, while I think the fighter is a great option, honestly, when I think something like a precision archer, I think rogue archetypes. Because you get ranged attacks for your dex, and you get your sneak attack. Now, sneak attack has certain conditions that must be met, correct? You need to either have advantage on the attack from hiding position, or an ally within 5 feet.
Yep.
Now, if you're on animal back and running around the outside of the battlefield, you can easily just target enemies that your allies are attacking. If that's the case, you can pull off the archery and sneak attack combos relatively easy.
Yep.
And because you're on animal back, depending on the creature's speed, they're going to be pretty swift, though I don't think that they're going to ever be as swift as a rogue. And this is where I kind of got stumped, because a rogue with a bonus action cunning action is actually faster than most mounted combatants.
Yeah.
And then there's that one with a monk I built.
That was fast as hell.
Yeah.
Like
slow-mo, like Sonic the Hedgehog Flash, everything's slowing down around him fast.
Oh, I'm 75 feet away from the guy. I should be okay. Hi there. What the? That's his walk speed.
it's like, and then it's like, okay, well, you can go for the damage and do like the fighter, right? But like, even if you like, if you do like a dex-based fighter, like yeah, you have the archery and everything, but I feel like there's still like other things you could do. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this all comes back to how you describe. The one thing that I think a lot of players get stuck on is the names of the mechanics and the classes. Instead of thinking of them as names and classes, because in the game world they don't think about that. If a guy doesn't walk around, I'm a level 5 fighter, biatches! No, he doesn't do that.
He's a level 5 strong-ass dude who's going to bench press me.
Yeah, he was a soldier or something. The same could be different, or the same could be for an archery rogue, archery ranger, archery fighter. You're not an archery ranger, archery fighter, or archery rogue. You are an archer who prefers animal back. Now, depending on the animal, you get a large animal. That provides a lot of benefits outside of just the mounted combat. Like an elephant is large, right?
Mm-hmm.
That now takes you out of melee range from an enemy, I believe. Right?
Sounds reasonable to me.
So,
elephants are fairly large. I don't think a man would stab me with a spear on it.
Well, they got 10-foot squares, I think, because their category is large. So my assumption is, and honestly, I couldn't find any specific rules on this, and honestly, I would rule it this way anyway, that something that big is just out of melee combat. You would need a reach weapon or a range weapon to hit them. So,
Makes
also,
sense to me.
we were that team deathmatch that we did. This wasn't on the stream, but I totally tried to sneak a combat mount into that game because you can buy a warhorse for 200 gold. It was within my budget, but
am I the only one on our team that actually killed people that was not friendly fire?
no, my whole goal was to help you and draw fire, and I succeeded. Anyways, back to the point.
I just ran around a lot.
I still laugh at the moment,
Tied
like
up those shotgun things.
I still love the moment where he was like, I have a 19 AC. Yeah, Brutarius grapples you.
Rutarius does not care about AC. He grabs by neck and choke slams him into the grinder below.
Pretty much.
But, I mean, I like the rogue idea.
Yeah,
I think that could still work.
I think that would be best, but once again, I wouldn't consider thinking of it as a rogue. I would say take the hermit background maybe, or the.
You gotta find a way to get like what is it, like melee, or I'm sorry, ground vehicle proficiency or something like that, though, don't you?
I think it would just be animal handling, which I think he touches on a little bit.
Yeah, I guess you would,
So I think that's the check. But if you're a rogue, this is back to why I think the rogue would have been a better option. Sure, you lose the extra attack and stuff, but the
sneak attack is
the
still
sneak
really
attack
good.
is really, really good. Plus, you get so much utility with your bonus action, with cunning action.
Even then, you have like uncanny dodge too.
Yeah.
So
But your
you'd
horse
still
doesn't.
Your horse doesn't. Well, then you're still faster than your horse. So when your horse goes down, you can still
get
run.
out. Yeah,
But
I could say I like the rogue idea. I do. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, you could work something with that.
And another option would be, and I've talked about this before, if you wanted something like that really early on, you could be a Beastmaster Ranger and pick a halfling and ride atop any of the beasts you can pick, which gives you a mounted combat, archery, all that stuff with Hunter's Mark, and fits it thematically, but probably wouldn't put out as much damage if that's what you're going for. Early on, and it's a good way to ensure that you get a mount, because not every DM might be willing to give you a mount over everybody else. So you might have to go that route of getting one yourself, either through summoning magic or, in this case, the Beastmaster build.
Anyway.
I wonder, and even then, don't
a hard
even be
question.
afraid to like multi-class as well, because like
Yeah.
you could still like, I know like there's a lot of like fun stuff you can do with fighter action surge level 2,
it's pretty
fighting style archery. Like you can get that and put 2 levels into fighters. Suddenly you're really good at archery, and you can still, do some weird janky stuff when you need to. Like, oh, I got an action surge, and I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Run away! Old Handy says, could you give them a feature of a ranger and an animal companion? I wouldn't add features to other classes without multi-classing.
I just buy a creature and call it good.
Yeah, I mean, you could get one for 200 gold. Everyone's saying, what can I spend 200 gold on? 200 gold will get you a warhorse. 500, I think, gets you a... Wait, does it 200 get you the warhorse, or does it get you the elephant? Shit, I forgot.
I don't know.
Might be like 400 for the elephant. I forget. Anyways,
But yeah.
you have options. Buy one, but you have to wait a while.
And then there's horse armor.
Yeah, you can get barding. Also, Carmageddon says you could use the Artificer Battlesmith as a good one for this as well. I feel like you can reflavor some of your shots as like magic arrows.
Actually, I have seen people like go halfling, warsmith, artificer, be a halfling, and ride the mechanical companion.
Yep, that's definitely
That is
reasonable.
hilarious.
I like the idea of reflavoring like the pistols and little contraptions and stuff as like magical arrows that you're shooting, you know?
And there is a mix for the artificer that lets you have unlimited ammo when you range objects.
There you go. Pew, pew, pew,
There you
motherfucker.
go.
So there's some good options. We hope this helped. I know that this was actually a hard one for me because it's not something I thought about a whole lot. But I think that those are good starting points.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to dip around into other classes to get what you want. I do think the easiest way to ensure you're mounted character is to just buy a warhorse and pick up some of the features. Sharpshooter feat would be a great one.
Oh yeah.
To fit that theme, right? The there's a some sort of beneficial feature like leadership for your party. You're riding around, shouting, rallying cries and inspiring your players. That could be the what is the stupid feat with the maneuver? The feat that gives you the maneuver. Do you know what that's called? There's a feat that gives you maneuvers.
Yeah, I know what
you're talking about.
You
I
can
just-
pick
I
up
don't know what
the
it's called, though.
You can pick up the commander strike one where you from your bow give commands to your allies and let them attack, and reflavor it as you're drawing shots with fucking like green arrow shit that like blows up in their face or something like that. So I think there is a lot you can do with that, but it will take some like kind of mechanic focusing to kind of get you there to be super effective.
Point being, there's options, but don't overthink it.
Oh, yeah. Last thing I didn't touch on, expertise for animal handling. If you're a rogue, you can take expertise. I knew there was another reason,
Yeah,
but I thought the rogue was a
really
good idea.
good idea for that.
So double your
especially then.
proficiency. So, all right, I think we've spent way too much time on Let's Talk About Blank today, but that was a really long-winded question.
Perhaps.
So.
I'm surprised how much mileage you get out of it, to be real here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Before we move on to our Honor Tips and Tricks,
Oh yeah, we have a giveaway.
gift to give away, don't
Yeah, we have a giveaway for from Loresmith.
we? You should have this down pat by now, man.
Yeah, I know. I said by Loresmith from Loresmith. I couldn't decide. But
What's
anyway,
this
it's the
man?
modular dungeon tiles, the Arcania set. The modular dungeon tiles, if you don't already know from the past 6-7 months, are an easy way to create your own beautiful digital maps. The Arcania set in specific lets you create dark, shadowy dungeon maps rich with the fumes of arcane secrets.
Ooh.
So maybe you'll find your benevolent undead warhorse in a wall.
Way to tie that in.
Or on the other hand, you find a Lich King. Run!
I've been farming Classic to get that stupid Midnight Undead mount from Stratholme.
There you go.
Or maybe like in The Witcher 3, you'll see your horse on top of a house for no apparent reason.
See?
There's a horse on top of a house.
Your horse roach in The Witcher 3 is notorious for being really glitchy.
Ah, you just ride on houses? That's funny.
That's
And
weird.
You just want to see the horse in like really random spots. Like, how did you get up there? In fact, I was hoping at some point in the Netflix series they would do something random like that.
But it didn't. No.
Just kind of as a joke.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Who's our winner today?
It looks like, oh boy, Razor Arcanthos looks like
That's
our winner
pretty good.
today. That's what
how
I'm
I'm gonna go with.
assuming.
Hey, we have an applause button. Why don't you hit that
Oh
applause
yeah, we
button?
have this now. I forgot.
You won't hear it because we don't have
I
That's definitely harder to cue when I can't hear it.
did. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I did.
Congratulations, Razor Arcanthos. If you enjoy the product, please let Loresmith know. If you didn't win, have no fear. Crit Academy is here. Head on over to critacademy.com/Loresmith and get a free set of digital terrain and some one-shots and some other fat loot compliments of Loresmith. Now, there's something I want to talk about before we move on to the main topic. I've been working my ass off. And we're getting closer to launching our Memorable Monster Kickstarter. So I want to say thank you to everyone who actually answered the survey and gave us some good feedback. It really, really was awesome. I also want to let everyone know that we are working to start getting stuff up on Amazon in the next week or so. Hopefully by the time this episode airs, we'll not only have a digital version on the Kindle for our Words of Power, but also a print copy you can pick up from Amazon.
That'd be really cool.
So I'm really looking forward to that. As long as nothing goes under the bus, that should be available when this episode goes live. So keep an eye out. I also want to let you guys know that we will be giving away a free copy of the Mythic Odyssey of Theros during this episode. So thank you for all of you dedicated people who come and watch us fuck around on Sundays.
Yeah, I was gonna
talk
say
D&D.
that's pretty much the best.
We will be giving that away at the end of the episode, so stay tuned. Make sure to share with your friends. Actually, I say share with your friends, but if you did that, then they might watch and have a chance to win. So then you'll lower your odds. So maybe I guess I personally don't know that I would actually. Hey, you want to win this?
Yeah.
It'll increase your odds of your friends in your group getting the thing.
There
right?
you go. See,
So,
now that's true. Yeah.
you can work as a group to get it. So yeah, that's exciting.
You've effectively increased your odds by a lot.
Yeah, right? Because
By every person.
If all your friends come and watch, and there's 10 of you, and there's 12 people in the chat, one of you is going to get it, right?
Probably.
Anyways, so that being said, we are going to move on to our main topic, the Mythic Odysseys of Theros.
I've been so excited about this.
Yeah, too bad the physical copy got delayed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and the one we're giving away will be a physical copy, so it'll just show up on your doorstep one day.
Yeah, it'll just be there. You won't know when or why.
Supposedly. Anyway, so what is the Mythic Odysseys of Theros? Is that caprice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The caprice of gods, the destiny of heroes, great journeys into monster-infested wilds, and mythic odysseys to the edge of the world and back. These elements of adventure fill the realms of Theros and pretty much every other D&D world.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's
like that's your
similar.
That's what you got. Come on, Watsy.
Like
the new setting. It's a new setting for Dungeons and Dragons campaign for you to explore. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I was really excited for this because it is heavily based on the roots of ancient Greek. Tales dominated by gods and heroes and monsters, and those heroes are often like demigods, right?
Yeah,
People
typically.
who are born of divine power, which is just something that's super exciting for me. And again, anybody that's seen the Ravnica episode knows I love Magic the Gathering. So delving into the lore of a card game that I love gives each of those little cards a little more awesomeness to go with them. So it was really exciting for me.
And to be fair, the gods are way more hands-on in this setting than other ones, and it is baked directly into the settings.
Yes, and that's actually
Very exciting
I
about
would
that.
say you're right, is one of the core things is the gods aren't just some far off thing. They're constantly pulling the strings of what's going on. If you've ever you ever read like the Iliad and the Odyssey or anything like that,
Yep.
Where Odysseus is constantly being guided by Athena, not Althena. Athena, and she's kind of helping him in any way she can, but due to certain rules, she can't actually do too much. So she can push a wave just slightly to the left so it doesn't kill him or shit like that. But
Yeah.
But right off the bat, you actually do pick which god your character worships and serves.
yeah.
And you do have a piety level, if you will, that you do keep track of for benefits.
That is one of my favorite features.
I haven't been able to look at it yet, but I'm super excited to know more about it.
It works very similar to the faction system existed in in the previous in this edition that doesn't get used as much, where you can do like faction levels and each level gets you some sort of small benefit. In this one, the benefits are huge, affecting even some magical items, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
So so why don't we talk about a little bit what's in all these chapters? There's a lot in this book. Obviously, we aren't gonna talk about all of it. I do have some bullet points on some big things that I want to talk about, but we are gonna kind of each go over the shorts of what contained in each chapter. Austin, do you want to tell us what's in chapter 1 there?
Yeah. So chapter 1 covers the heroes of Theros, like the races, the class options, and backgrounds you'll need to make a character. It also introduces supernatural gifts, which is something that is what really kind of caught my eye because I love that kind of stuff. Which is available to starting characters and features that set Theros' adventurers apart as true heroes. So pretty much like boons, as far as I'm aware.
In what's interesting is it goes beyond that. So I once had a friend ask me, "Hey Justin, what do you think about giving all characters a feat at level 1? I was like, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. You know what I finally think I ended up deciding?
Okay.
I don't think it would unbalance the game. I think that variant humans would still get 2 feats. Well, guess what one of the options for your supernatural gifts is? Talk to your DM about including optional feats as choices, which is just fantastic. The one big thing about the character creation that really drives your character is what they call is heroic drives. One thing that 5th edition, we can all agree, really wants to focus on is the pushing of ideals, flaws, and bonds, right?
Yep.
This gets even pushed even further, and the fact that you intertwine them with like gods makes it even more powerful. Especially when maybe Austin and Ian's character, they decide they're going to end up worshiping the same god. Well, now they are now forever entwined by the same ideals that person follows, which this kind of takes every character and turns them into like the older style paladins, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say this is very paladin-esque.
Where you kind of have to follow a set of ideals. This really reminded me, because I'm going back through the Stormlight Archives for like the 4th time, because I love that shit. Where
It's good.
The characters' powers come right from their ideals, and as soon as they start to question those or alter them, it either improves them by more refining their ideals, or becomes a weakness, and their powers and abilities are kind of lost over time. And this really focuses on it. It also talks about tragic flaws. If you ever listened to or read the Percy Jackson series, in one of the books they start to introduce tragic flaws. What do you think the most well-known flaw is in the Greek mythology?
Achilles' heel.
Achilles' heel. His greatest weakness, and it brings him down. That's how they want you to portray your flaws. Something that's so bad, it brings your character to their knees. Because the DM can play on that. The enemies, the villains can play on that stuff. And that's just fascinating to me.
Or a prophecy.
Or a prophecy. Prophecy is a good one. They do a lot of that with what was it? It was the oracles, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like all the tragedy that Oedipus experienced was due to his family trying to avoid the prophecy, but avoiding the prophecy is what caused the prophecy to happen.
Prophecy, right? The last thing I wanted to really, unless I know you looked at some of the character options, maybe we'll talk about a couple of the races. Yeah. But you mentioned briefly on the supernatural gifts there, Austin. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Sure. So most heroes, oh boy, that's gonna be kind of tough. So, thank you. Most heroes of Theros have some kind of supernatural aid to help them achieve their goals. So basically, they ask their gods, "Hey, you want to help me?" And the gods are like, "I'll give you this little like pixie dust that'll do something." Often this aid comes from the gods, but some heroes might find their support from other beings, such as the Sphinx. Oh boy.
Don't worry about the names if you can't pronounce
the Sphinx
them.
or an oracle or some other people. Or possibly a repository of mystical knowledge.
Like
Candlekeep. Like Candlekeep. That'd be kind of cool.
That's not in there, but something like that, I imagine.
I mean, Candlekeep could probably go in there. You could probably throw it in there
toss
somehow.
It in if you want. Yeah, call it Candlekeep.
Say, like a giant portal opened up and went, and Candlekeep dropped from the sky.
People blame it on the devils in Avernus at that point.
Oh, yeah. Some heroes are born with supernatural power or born as a result of supernatural events. That's kind of cool. I like that idea.
Yes.
A character in Theros begins with one supernatural gift chosen from those in this section. Work with the DM to decide where your character's gift come from. Is it tied to the god you serve? Was it the result of a fateful encounter with a sphinx or an oracle? Does it indicate the... Oh boy, I can't read.
The nature of your birth.
You
need me to blow it up for you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Is that better?
Yes. I feel like I'm getting more blind later on.
That's okay. You got through it.
But yeah, the ideas are there.
So, first of all, it encourages the DM to work with the player to create something unique.
Right.
Now, there are feats you can choose, but there's also these supernatural gifts that it actually recommends, right? Ooh. Like, there's a bunch of them, but we'll talk about just one or two. So the one I think we'll talk about is the first one in the book, which is Anvil Wrought, which basically you were forged in the fires of Perforus's forge, or Hephaestus's forge is kind of what I thought.
Yeah, same guy.
Because I'm a Greek nut. But basically, your appearance bears a metallic sheen and visible joints. The Anvil Wrought characteristic table suggests details of your life or origin, basically in a background. Right? It's a little more depth than the background, but can go in line with that sort of thing. So, this gives you constructed resilience, which I thought was awesome. Basically, you have remarkable fortitude. You're immune to disease, you don't need sleep, and your magic can't put you to sleep. You have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned and that damage, and you no longer need to eat, drink, or breathe.
Those are all pretty good.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yep.
This to me sounds like something naturally that fits with like the Warforged.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a little Italian gnome running around. It's a me. You know, like the Mario when he turned into Metal Man and he started walking underwater. That's kind of what I envisioned here.
Could be interesting.
But wait. There's more. You also get Century's Rest. When you take a long rest, you must spend at least 6 hours in an inactive, motionless state rather than sleeping. In this state, you appear inert, but it doesn't render you unconscious, and you see and hear as normal. You're basically like a scanner thing going on and keeping watch.
No matter what, no one will ever be able to surprise you.
That's amazing.
That is impressive. This is level 1! Level 1! You get this at the very beginning of the game!
Once again, so this really pushes characters right out the gate to be what? Heroic. Awesome. Yeah, it really is heroic. And they give you some cool characteristics and stuff, and I don't really want to get too much in it.
I guess another one we'll mention, just because it's very Greek, would be Oracle.
Ooh, what's that one?
You possess a precious gift coveted not just by mortals, but by the gods themselves. You have a gift of clear communication between the mortal and divine realms. As an oracle, you can perceive the whims of the gods and petition them for glimpses of their vast insight.
That's dope.
That is crazy.
Those people that love the divine sorcerer, or the divine, the divine sorcerer.
Even just like using like legend lore
divination
like
wizard. What?
Even just like being able to use like it sounds almost like legend lore.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And the guy, I do this thing is like crap ton of traits.
Yeah, I can see that. Holy
Jesus,
cow!
Yeah.
Here's the oracle. You can speak, read and write celestial, the language of the gods. The gods might deliver a message through you, and you can choose to do it in either your voice or said God's voice.
Oh, as a dungeon master, that would be fun.
That would be great. Yeah,
fun to play with.
That's cool.
You get flashes of insight when you make an ability check. You roll a d10 and add that to the check.
Ooh,
That's really good too.
that's really cool.
That's literally like a divine
Once per
sorcerer.
short or long rest.
Per short or long rest. That's very insightful.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oracle's piety. Your oracular abilities improve as your piety increases, and yes, you do keep track of piety once again.
Yes, that's super
Oh, my
important
lord.
in this
But
format.
instead of gaining the benefits from that god bestows, you have your own list you can choose from.
That's cool.
Oh
So
my
you get special powers as your piety increases.
Holy
like
cow.
at 3, you get the Oracle trait to cast Augury. At a much higher level, you get Sybil, which basically lets you cast the Commune trait, or cast the Commune spell as a ritual, which is pretty fantastic. Once per long
The
rest.
plus 51 is you
Plus
just increase
50.
your intelligence or wisdom by 2.
And it increases the maximum for it by 2.
Can we just say that is the first time ever I have seen that it does not say up to level 20? Anybody notice that? Anytime you get a stat increase, doesn't it say up to a maximum of level 20?
The only exception I can think of is magical items.
Well,
or
it's
the
because it says
barbarian
as well as
feature.
increasing your maximum for the chosen spell.
Oh,
by
it says
2.
it right.
So.
So you're not so blind.
Well, now because it didn't blown up for me.
Yeah.
My eyes are going bad,
the only
dude.
ways I can think of going above, like I said, are either magical items or the barbarian captain.
So, did you read any of the flaws? Read that first flaw. What does that say, Austin?
Which one? The one right at
The one that's number
top
1. Yeah,
Okay.
the very first flaw. What's that say?
I know
Oracle.
exactly how I'm going to die, and I can't do or say anything to prevent it. Wow!
That's
That is
awesome.
awful!
That is awesome. As
But
a
it's so-
DM,
yeah.
you can work with the player to come up with this.
But that means you're gonna... To be so... What? See, that creates another thing. Because that means you can't kill them unless they die exactly that way.
Well, we've talked before about prophecies and how what we
I mean,
know
they can be
is
interpreted,
different
yeah.
than what actually is being
Well,
said.
I was gonna
you
say-
know you're gonna die at the top of a forest of trees.
Right.
Maybe that isn't a forest in the normal sense. Maybe it's a
I was thinking maybe it was like a
Stone.
vision. I guess that's why I was confused.
maybe maybe. I guess that can be interpreted differently.
Or like you could make it like, I guess in your case, like a message, like a prophecy. That would make sense too.
That's
you
how I would do it, but
See, I don't know what would be worse. If I saw the image of how I'm going to die, or if I just hear the bland words of like, oh yes, you will fight on top of a spire, and you will die a very horrible death. Like, okay, I'm not going to go up any tower in my lifetime, thanks. I'll just stay down here.
but then you find out you end up going underground to a tower that sank into the ground.
Yes! Shit like that. Like, it'd be
Fucking
like,
the inner
oh.
center is all hollow and you just fall to your death
Ugh.
into some magma and shit. Oh man, that sounds awesome. Anyways, there's lots of good shit with
And
that.
that's just one of 8.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those in there. So, Ian,
Now think about Zappelli from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, who received a prophecy of how he's gonna die, and then he watches the events unfold right in front of him. He's like, oh crap.
He's like, ah, well.
could you imagine that though? Knowing you're going to die, Would you tell your party?
You can't. Not with that.
Does
It said
say?
you couldn't. You couldn't
Yeah.
say or do anything about it. You are going to die. In that specific way.
That's
you have to like
fascinating.
scroll down to it. It's just so, whew. I can't do or say
Okay.
anything to prevent it. Yeah.
Oh, number 2. People
you-
who consult me for information really believes the answers I give them. Then why did I come to you in the first place?
I don't believe you.
Oh
Oh,
man,
okay.
that would be great for somebody who is a sincerely honest person.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody believes them. They just assume they're lying. Their insights are poopy apparently. Anyways, there's lots of really great stuff in the first chapter.
That's so crazy.
There's also class options and races. Some of the stuff looks like it had been rehashed, like the Minotaur.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the Leonin was a really cool one. I think it's like a buffed up Tabaxi.
Yeah, a strength-based tabaxi.
Yeah, it was. So that was.
It's
Pretty
basically
cool.
a lion.
Yeah.
Right?
You ever watch? You ever play
It's a
that that Tekken game? You got King, the lion. That's
Yeah,
kind of what I
it's
envisioned
basically
when I was
King.
reading that. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. You got centaurs in here too.
There's some really good stuff. Was there any? You were looking at some of the class options. Was there any class option that really spoke to you? I think there's a couple different ones.
Yes. Oh, also, as a raise, you can play as a satyr. Look at
What?
I do a satyr, goat man.
Oh, you can play as a goat
I'm
man.
gonna be a bad boy.
I could be
And
a
I
goat
want to
buddy.
point out that one of their racial abilities is magic resistance.
Of course.
Well, it would hope so.
Of course.
See, now a satyr bard makes sense, but a
Ye-
satyr warrior? Didn't we just make a monster that was
Yep.
like that?
You have advantage in saving those against spells and other magical effects.
Ooh, nice. That's awesome.
I wonder if
All
it
right,
includes
so
the party.
the subclasses, there are 2 new subclasses. The College of Eloquence for the Bard, which basically is a let's see if we can find out.
You're
kind
really
of...
good at talking.
Yeah, just that's what it sounds like. You're just really, really good at talking.
Okay, so it said adherents to the College of Eloquence master the art of oratory. A lot of this. Kind of like me, but I failed, so I'm not really good at it. Persuasion
failed out
is
of the
regarded
college.
as a high art, and well-reasoned, well-spoken arguments often proves more persuasive than facts. You can lie yourself to success, right? These bards wield a blend of logic and theatrical wordplay. If you once again, I hate to keep bringing up Stormlight Archives, but Wit seems like he would fit this theme. He's very talks a lot of shit and insults people very directly, but very smoothly. Something I wish a talent I had. Which I, what was it? I was listening to the other book called what's the Stars one? Where he goes into the stars. Starsight? No. Was it Starsight?
Skyward?
Skyward, yeah, then it's like,
Yeah,
Skyward
Skyward.
series. So in Skyward, one of the ladies, she also is like, she does that old Southern, oh bless your heart, but she does it in like such a way that nobody realizes she's insulting them, and she reveals to the main character later, is like, well, the best insults, darling, are the ones that they don't get. I was cracking up for like 10 minutes, like, I can appreciate that.
Yep.
And then the other subclass is a Oath of Glory.
For the paladin.
For the paladin. So, these are paladins, and their companions are destined to achieve glory through deeds of heroism. They train diligently and encourage their companions, so they'll all be ready when destiny calls. This reminds me of like the Hercules movies.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like he's like, this is my destiny. I'm gonna work hard to become a hero. You know. So.
Be a paladin of glory. Never use their sword. Only fist.
What I think's cool is they get like the guiding bolt.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. 'cause
Wow,
that's
they
usually
do
just
have guiding
That's usually
bolt.
just a cleric
Wow.
thing, right?
Yep.
They
Magic weapon, enhance ability. Man, they got some good
They
stuff.
They
Haste,
get-
protection from energy.
Yeah, they get some good
Haste.
stuff.
Oh my lord.
Love freedom of movement.
Yeah,
So.
that peerless
strike.
athlete is right. They are ready to go.
So what if I told you they had one, a smite that actually granted temporary hit points
To their allies.
to their allies? Inspiring smites. I thought that was really cool.
Okay.
It's just
I like
makes you
it.
strong, it makes you a little
Next
stronger.
minutes, you have advantage on strength and dexterity checks. You can carry, push, drag, and lift twice as much weight as normal. That can do some fun stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And the distance you're long
Get
and
some
high jumps are 10
Hercules
feet.
type stuff.
Okay.
So now that we're done with chapter 1, there's a lot of shit in there. There's some background.
I
we
gotta
can't
look
get
more
all
into
in
that
it.
class. That sounds
Uh,
dope.
Yep.
So, Ian, would you tell us about the contents in the chapter 2, please?
Why, yes, they introduce the Gods of Theros, which includes a massive pantheon of deities based on the great gods you know and love that you can choose from.
Yes. And what's cool is you really could easily substitute these names for all the Greek gods if you wanted to.
Oh yeah,
No
easily.
problem.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be hard.
No.
You could just do it. It's as simple as just like flipping A to B. Just boop. That's it.
And once again, as they point out early on, every character knows the gods exist. There's no question about it. The gods are more direct. You start off worshiping a god at some point.
And see that.
I love the
That's
idea
awesome
of an
to me.
atheist in that, like, yeah, he's not a god. He's just a very powerful person. Because really...
Could you be an atheist in this, actually?
Well, okay, so...
You could attempt, I
Here's
guess.
something that it talks about. The gods are not omnipotent.
Nope.
Right.
They live forever, but they aren't, like... They're immortal, but they're not...
Infallible.
They're not indestructible type thing. There's ways to take them out. And they're not... What is it? They're not omniscient, and they're not omnipotent. Which,
They don't know all, and they can't destroy all.
Right, so that makes them immediately arguably not really gods.
I mean, they can still
Although-
be considered gods, but they're definitely not like an almighty,
creator, right?
like a creator.
Although at this point they have no stat blocks either, so
They what?
they have no stat blocks.
Right, because you make them as powerful as you want. Because one of my favorite games was God of War.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
And I think that's
yeah.
a really great example of how I think I would like
See, that's
something
how
like
I feel
this.
like what Theros is to me. Like, to me, Theros is just fucking God of War. Like,
Yes.
I'm big dude ready to take down a bunch of gods. Like,
Right,
here
but
we go.
that could be a great campaign story. You guys have been tricked into slaughtering the innocent by one of the God of War, and now you're out to punish the God of War, so you have to go through all these trials to figure out what it takes to
Kill the
kill
God of
him.
War.
And maybe it's just the opening Pandora's box or something like that. Or maybe you make it worse. Maybe you release evil versions of the gods or something. Who knows?
Actually, Pandora's box is basically an item in here.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Maybe you accidentally open the river
Oh,
of Styx to the real mortal plane, and
That would
you
be cool.
fuck
Yep.
everything up.
That'd be awesome.
Watch what it does is when you touch it, you immediately gain the result of a short rest, but you're also cursed by the object, and you have to roll to resist a compulsion to open it.
So you just keep opening it and getting more curse?
No, you try to resist the curse to open it.
Oh, yeah, but if you fail to resist the curse, you open it.
Yep. And
And it gives you...
then you roll on the table, see what bad stuff happens to you and or people within your vicinity, and then that teleports away to somewhere on that plane of existence.
See, now that would be an awesome quest, to take that from one location to another.
And it's a DC 17 save, by the way.
Oh,
Good
Jesus.
lord. Oh my god.
How often, do you know?
Zorax would have trouble.
Every time you touch it.
Oh, God. Could you? That would just be awesome. Your whole adventure is to take this from point A to point B without opening it and destroying the world. Anyways,
That's good.
so we're not going to get into all the lore, but there's a plethora of it. It is literally a labyrinth full of content. What I do want to talk a little bit more about is the piety score.
Yeah, I want to know more about this.
So being a god's companion carries really no benefit in and of itself, right? Each god's description in the chapter kind of paints a picture of kind of the type of champions or heroes that and characters that might end up in a position that provides provides them with the ability to represent the god's interests. Now,
And they go into quite a bit of details of what they desire for their champions, including alignment, probable classes, their ideals, and so on and so forth.
Now, it does state that when you pick a god at the beginning, you start with a 1 as your piety score. And as you do things that advance that god's agenda,
Yeah.
you earn more favor. But guess what happens when you earn the favor of one god? You earn the wrath of
Another
one.
one, probably. Oh, I didn't think about
So that to me is
that. I guess
just
they all have
phenomenal.
their own enemies,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It makes sense.
And it does say that often you gain piety points just by completing adventures, but it does give specific examples of what that deity might value, and therefore what might use to increase or decrease
Yeah.
your piety points.
So far, somebody that wasn't aware of this, what do you think?
I think it could be fun. Honestly, it feels much like like you said before, like a faction score so far.
Yeah.
If you do things within that help the faction, you get a reward. Good for you.
Now, generally, the piety score doesn't have a direct impact. One of the suggestions is when somebody goes up, give them an inspiration point.
Yep.
That way, there's something tangible from it. Because it's not until you start to get some of the really cool magical items that your piety score affects what they can do. Or do in benefit of you, or do as a detriment to you, which is both pretty sweet.
I mean, let's go over some examples. Let's say like Heliod here, for example, God of the Sun.
Okay?
He's a And basically, he makes the sun rise every day, and basically everybody acknowledges he exists because, well, they see the sun.
It's there.
That's fair. Yeah.
In his mind, he's the ruler of the gods, and merely wants for his rightful place to be recognized. He has a lot of relationships. As the ruler of the pantheon, he angers Aberos and Perforos, who both have a degree of arrogance that he demonstrates.
Yeah, well, you know.
Worshipping him, the sun, it's kind of hard to not acknowledge that it exists, so...
Yeah.
Everybody worships him in some way, but some go out of their way to do it.
Kind of like a...
Okay.
He's kind of like the god, or this kind of somewhat reminds me of, like... I don't know, like Christianity almost. It sounds really topical, but, like, the reason I say it is because, like, everyone knows it exists to some form, right? So everyone's, like, probably at least thought about following it or has followed it at one point.
Yep.
Just by the sheer fact that you knew it existed at some point in your life.
Right.
But anyway, characters that follow him, they're usually lawful, often good. Such classes, cleric, fighter, monk, paladin. Such as the cleric domains, light.
I love that it gives example of like domains and characters and classes.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's very helpful.
And there's even a detail about earning and losing piety for each. They kind of give them in bullet point listings.
Okay.
Can you give us one or two examples before we move on?
For earning, carrying out punishment on a fugitive from justice, or defending or exacting vengeance from a significant wrong done to you, and you can lose it by while breaking an explicit promise or oath, violating any just law, or putting others at risk through your own cowardice.
That's pretty good. Now, we mentioned the piety.
Yes.
Once you start to collect a few of them, they do start to generate benefits. Am I correct?
Yep.
What are some of the benefits that you get for following Helios?
Well, when you get +3, you can call in his favor and you can cast Bless, requiring no material components.
That's pretty good.
And manifests as a nimbus around the affected creatures. +10, you can cast Daylight.
I don't know what that
That's
does.
just makes a bright sun in the sky.
Oh,
Get 25 or
Vegeta
more.
did it in Dragon Ball Z.
gotcha. Okay.
Get 25 or more, you are accustomed to the blazing radiance of the sun, and therefore you have advantage on saving throws against being blinded. And you resist fire damage.
Nice.
And we hit
I would think radiant damage. That's weird.
Yeah, I would also say radiant damage, but
Well, I guess
fire
that's
by
fire.
fire.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I get you.
like I get it, but like it's an
think-
interesting.
And last but
radiant
not
when-
least, when you hit
unless
20
it's
or
already
more,
used.
your strength or wisdom goes up by 2, and you increase a max by 2 for that score.
I'm seeing a pattern with having over 50 piety.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it increases your max stat.
Mm-hmm.
Or a specific stats.
Yeah.
So far, that is for...
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have a +26 strength barbarian!
Oh, yeah, because some
Holy
of their thing lets them break the 20 roll, doesn't it?
Oh my God. Plus 26 strength at a bar.
And these are for each of the gods. There are a lot of them. Once again, can't go through all of them. I'd love to sit here and talk for hours about this,
And we can.
but we are not going to.
Yeah.
So that leads us into the next chapter here.
God,
If I can frickin' find it.
I saw that comment. That comment was
What
good.
the comment said?
It said, "Your God gives you shades." He just drops some sunglasses down onto you, and you just roll out with
funny.
them.
In chapter 3, it turns to the moral world, where most of your adventures and stuff will take place. That's where, it all kind of unfolds. It covers 3 city-states of humanity: the wildlands of the Leonin and Minotaurs, the great forests and wide plains where the satyrs revel and the centaurs roam, and the seas where the tritons dwell and the titanic monsters lurk, like the Kraken.
Release that Kraken!
See, now, let me finish this. It also offers glimpses into the divine realm of Nyx and the dismal realms of the underworld. Now, one of the things that I don't think gets enough love is there are powerful monsters roaming the world of D&D, regardless of whether it's
absolutely.
Mythic Theros or if it's Forgotten Realms.
I'm sure we all heard of the Tarask.
When you're thinking of up encounters, consider encounters that the players can't take part in. A Tarask showing up and just steamrolling an entire city. How would your game change if you ran Descent into Avernus, for example?
Mm-hmm.
Your character spent a shit ton of time in Baldur's Gate, and then sometime, while they're out adventuring, a Tarask bulldozes the whole thing. That's an encounter that they could experience from a distance, or something that they could just hear between guards chit-chatting. Austin, did you hear? I heard that a monster like maybe a Tarask actually attacked Baldur's Gate.
That would explain the earthquakes.
But those sorts of encounters should be something that happens. And the same thing with the Kraken. The Kraken is something deadly that should be constantly, sailors are constantly warning people about it sinking their ships and shit. So consider that stuff.
It makes your world feel a lot more involved, so
Yeah.
you should really do stuff like that.
I recall when in a campaign when we were relatively low level, the enemy summoned a Kraken, and my character immediately went, "Well, I'm lowering a lifeboat."
Yeah, was that when we were at that convention?
No,
What was one I was swimming towards or trying to grapple with its tentacle?
I have no idea.
It was at that
no, but it
that
sounds
Jasper
great.
game day we did. We did the Ghost
Oh,
of
yeah.
Saltwater Marsh, and something big tentacle was like, "You don't think you compete?" I was like, "I got a hold of it."
It's just got you instead.
The biggest thing I remember was the paladin I ran, walking into a room. I'm gonna just check ahead in the room, guys. Failed my perception check. 3 spiders dropped down. Tried to stealth attack me. All 3 of them missed.
I remember that.
Back up to the ceiling. Let's clear, guys.
Oh man! All right, so chapter 3 really focuses on the lore, and there is a lot of it. If you want something different from Forgotten Realms, this book takes a lot of
City states. Lots of city states.
yeah, and it even gives details on some of the other monsters that are already in the book, and gives you new information on how they should behave or where they're from. So the Minotaur and the way it behaves in Theros is different than the way it behaves in
Forgotten
Realms, right?
Yeah.
And the story that's tied to them and their intelligence and all that stuff. Austin, what is in I don't want to get too. I don't think there's too much we can need to get into for chapter 3 as far as the lore and stuff.
Yeah, it's just more.
What is in chapter 4 there?
So in
Austin?
chapter 4, it builds on the guidelines in the Dungeon Master's Guide, highlighting adventures set in Theros, maintaining a focus on the gods, which is obviously very prevalent as we've stated multiple times. It presents omens that might launch heroes on the road to adventure, details hundreds of plot hooks, includes maps of potential adventure locations, and presents a short introductory adventure you can use to launch your campaign.
Yes.
Also, find some prophecies, just anywhere, random ones. It will work.
Yes.
Just literally anything.
Might I recommend you can find all the prophecies that are in the Path of Exile game on the internet, and they are amazing.
Just yank them and use them.
I think it's just randomly generated, and they work amazing. I think we've talked about it. On
I'm
the show.
pretty
I
sure
know
we
I
have. Yeah.
So good stuff.
Like just I think just in recent times we've been talking about prophecies and how effective they are.
Yep.
Same applies here. Just find a prophecy, say, hey guys, this is what's happening right now. Good luck. Like
Yep.
say like there's like some doomsayer or something. I don't know, and maybe he's actually has heard the voice of the gods and no one just believes him. But for whatever reason, you guys are doing an insight check. And you're like, he's not lying to us. I don't understand.
So there are some really interesting adventures in this from Nautical Adventures, but the one that jumps out at me are the collection of Underworld adventures, where you actually go to the world of the dead.
That'd be fun.
That leads to some interesting gameplay, because
That could
what
be
happens
super
when you're already there?
Never thought about that.
That's where your soul goes when you die. Cerberus comes up a lot, like the guardian dogs of
Yeah.
hell. There are lots of them in this book. At least I can think of 3. I think right off bat, but they come in 2 and 3 heads, which is pretty cool. But anyways, there's lots that focus on the underworld, and there's been ancient stories where somebody's delved into the underworld to rescue a loved one. It happened in Hercules, the cartoon, right? Mag dies, and he literally jumps into the river Styx as it's melting his flesh and aging him to save her.
I just like how they gave you different adventure hooks that are tailor-made for each city state.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, so that's cool.
That is really dope.
And more stuff to even just.
Well, I mean,
just
it's
see.
like creating an adventure in this city.
That's awesome.
So
Here's how you do this. I'm going to give all kinds of details. Chapter 5 is all about magical items.
and there's some fun ones.
It's the fun stuff for the players.
We did talk briefly about the
Pandora's box.
Pandora's box. Did you want to pick a magic item that's an artifact level that changes with piety to talk about?
Sure.
Because there's lots.
I'm
And
sure
what's
there's
cool,
probably some crazy greatsword in there.
Now, this is one of the
No.
very few.
Wow.
This is one of the very few times where I would say it is okay for your deities to just walk up to the heroes and give them items.
That'd be so cool,
It
man.
happens in Clash of the Titans.
Man, that'd be awesome.
Zeus walks up to his demigod kid, Perseus, and hands him a magical sword. That doesn't happen in most campaigns.
Can you imagine if Helios just came by and was like, hey,
Here's a-
so first off, here's some shades,
He's a chariot.
Chariot.
and then here's a chariot.
There's a magical chariot that'll fly if it's pulled by a flying animal.
And anybody who rides inside it gets bonuses to your AC.
Yes. So, hey, Tia, forget
Forget horses,
horseback
just
riding.
get a chariot.
Get a chariot.
Just get a chariot. Put a little pigeon at the end of it and get a chariot.
The other thing you can do before we get into a specific one is
That'd be so cool.
the gods leaving gifts for the players.
Just
and
walk-
leaving. Go ahead.
I was just I keep thinking of the Helios and the shades. So you just turn the corners to some shades, and there's a little note that says from Helios. Just stupid shit like that. Here's the gift for you, bud. Oh man. I'm having too much fun.
One
with
of the
that.
things it talks about for gifts of the gods is signature reagents. Something that the players need for something, whether it's a potion or something. In the example here, they say you can give a signature reagent like a Pegasus feather in a potion of flying, right? So they may not be able to create it, but if you give them the feather, they might be able to talk to an alchemist or a witch or somebody that can then create that item. Because that's going to generate more intrigue than just saying, here's a potion of flying.
That'd be cool.
I think so. All right, so have you picked a specific weapon with piety, or item with piety benefits and drawbacks?
Why, yes. I'm gonna go with the first entry. Akmon, Hammer of Perforos.
I like me a hammer.
Perforos?
Yep.
Perfor.
Alright. Perforos' hammer works wonders in disasters. The god...
No in between. No in between.
The god of the force uses it to craft groundbreaking marvels and dangerous inventions in equal measure. Perforos rarely bestows Akmon on mortals, but occasionally leaves it unattended at his forge on Mount Balos. When Balos does permit a mortal to use the hammer, it's usually so they might bring an important work into being, wreck a force of destruction, or forge something remarkable somewhere the god isn't welcome.
Ooh.
First and foremost, Hammer to the Forge, it is a +3 weapon to attack and damage, and when you hit with an attack using it, the target takes an additional 3d10 fire damage.
Oh, get wrecked.
What an absolute god hammer. I mean, it is a god hammer, I guess, but still.
But wait, there's way more.
Oh, man.
Blessing of the Forge. If the character worships Perforos, you gain the following benefits, which requires you to have a certain level of piety. If your piety's at 10 or more and you worship him, you get one randomly determined minor benefit, as according to the DMG.
DMG, yep, that's options in the DMG.
Yep.
Plus 25, you get one randomly determined major benefit.
Ooh.
I like me some major benefits.
Moving on up.
Get plus 50,
Bless that.
one additional randomly determined major benefit. So 2 major benefits.
Nice. So it enhances the more you follow.
If you don't worship him, you gain 2 randomly determined minor detrimental properties.
So anybody can use it, but you're going to have to suffer the curses and stuff, right?
And I can keep going. Reforge. While holding the hammer, you resist fire. You're immune to exhaustion.
So all you barbarians out there that everyone thinks the Path of Berserker's garbage, he's one up his game there.
Oh, my lord.
It only takes a legendary action or weapon, but
Oh, my
And
lord.
you also gain proficiency with smith tools and have advantage on using them.
Oh, my
Nice.
lord.
Spells. This gives you spells.
is that an artifact or
Oh,
legendary?
my lord.
It's an artifact.
Nice.
Oh, my lord.
So much power.
Okay.
Yeah, it just keeps going. There's more.
You gain the DC of
Energizer Bunny.
18, animate objects, heat metal, fabricate, magic weapon, mending, and shatter.
Oh, my lord.
And once you use the hammer to cast a spell, that spell can't be used until next dusk.
That is a lot.
That is so much.
But the one thing I want to focus on is the fact that your piety level is affecting the weapon.
Yeah.
That is something I don't think we've seen before.
Not that I'm aware of.
And honestly, I would like to see something like that in more magic items.
If you actually find Mjolnir,
Mjolnir,
Mjolnir.
gotta worship
Thor.
Thor or Odin.
Thor.
Didn't Odin create it? No, the dwarf guys did, didn't
Yep.
they?
Yeah.
That would be cool. I like it. Anyways, so I would like to see something like that. I thought that was pretty cool. So what else do we got? So there's lots of stuff with the magic items and different creations and inventions from renowned artisans in Chapter 5. Finally, Chapter 6 presents numerous inhabitants of Theros, an exploration of familiar beasts from the Monsters Manual and other sources, creatures with their roots in Greek mythology, details with their place and unique characteristics in the lands of Theros, which I mentioned earlier about the kind of comparing the two Minotaurs. Several of the Theros' most notorious creatures, foes as legendary as the world's most renowned heroes, are also presented as mythic monsters. Terrors designed to test even the gods' mightiest champions. This is the only thing that I want to talk about out of this content is mythic features. That is a new feature on top of legendary and lair actions.
This entire setting so far, I just want to make a quick note, is I think the theme they were going for is grand.
Yes.
Right? And they sold it so well with this. This is cool.
Yeah, and they do so. What the hell? Why did that do that? It's like, here, pick the Mythic Monsters button, then it didn't actually take me to Mythic
It took you
Monsters.
to something else.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So what is a mythic monster? This is something that I feel like sets the monsters in this book apart because
Sorry, go ahead.
they want to focus on the end game, the high level, the level 20 content.
That's what I'm there for.
That's what the mythic monsters are. These are things level CR 26. Some badass mother effers, man. I'll tell you what.
God, I can't even imagine fighting one of those.
And they've got details about describing the setting it up as a DM and how to get the most out of it. But this is basically, they want these encounters to be memorable. They want them to be hard. They want them to take long and be a strenuous battle. And so on top of lair actions, on top of legendary actions, they gain mythic. That was one of them. That's not the one I want to talk about.
There's probably one that's like a Hydra.
I'm looking for the Hydra. Yeah.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say, is the Hydra in
I
this,
think there's one that's a Hydra, because I know...
These look terrifying.
Yeah, don't they?
I can't even imagine fighting one of these. Because I'm gonna be... just imagine.
Caprice is CR 26.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that since he already pulled it up. So, most Krakens roam the seas, shattering hulls and shattering fleets. But the Kraken Traumacratus notoriously vents its wrath on coastal settlements, whether it acts at the command of god Thassa or at the sate its own hunger. Traumacratus numbers among the most feared threats in the sea, having no fixed lair and wandering wherever it wants.
I thought that's actually even more terrifying because it's just anywhere.
Just go wherever it
it's
wants.
Just like, oh guys, we're on the other side of the world. It was reported over on the last other side of the world just like a day ago. Oh guys, it's here.
So,
oh my gosh, this thing's a beast.
Yeah, so aside from having the traditional destroy your player stuff,
oh my lord,
it's got spell-resistant carapace. It's got Heart of the Kraken, which is a mythic trait, which recharges after a short or long rest. When it's reduced to 0 hit points, it doesn't die or fall unconscious. Instead, the damage creates cracks in the carapace, revealing its heart. Then the Traumacratus has 4 hearts, 2 on its chest and 1 on its back, and 1 at the base of its tail. The heart has an AC of 22 and 100 hit points. It's immune to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks, and it's immune to all conditions.
It's also immune to fire.
It's immune to fire.
And it resists cold, lightning, and thunder.
If it is forced to make a saving throw, treat it as a 10, so a +0. If it finishes a short or long rest, the carapace heals. Any destroyed hearts regenerate, and the hearts are covered again. Now, it only dies after all those are done. So as a DM, that creature is well aware of its weakness. So what do you think is going to happen when the heroes crack its shell open and its hearts are revealed?
It's probably going to go and it's going to come back for more later.
It's going to run away.
That's going to remember you guys.
I'm going to head out.
So now your players have to chase this monstrosity down as it's running away through the sea, probably diving so deep to just get away from everything.
Or the water level will crush you.
Oh yeah, when it dies, maybe it floods the city it's leaving from.
It's also worth knowing this thing has 490 HP.
Yeah, it is strong. Now,
this thing is huge. Oh my god.
I think it's gargantuan, yeah. So, Titan. It's got Quoten Titan's a monster type. So, aside from this thing's size and its damaging tentacles and tail and pincers, and it's mythic attacks, which is basically making more attacks. It has mythic actions. So it has one called Rampage, which it just does more attacks and damage. Basically, this is a hard mode for your players, because you can run without the mythic settings, right? But this takes it up a level. So it also has Coral Growth that costs 2 actions. Each creature within 10 feet of Traumacratus must make a DC 25 dex save, taking 3d8 slashing damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. Until the start of the next turn, its hearts gain a +2 bonus to its AC. So its mythic features tie directly into its trait and buff it, which is awesome. So,
yeah, this thing's a thing's a beast.
Yes, and they're designed to be, right?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the Clash of Titans? When in the newest one, when he's fighting the Kraken.
I saw the original.
Yeah, the original was good. In the new one, he's flying around on a Pegasus, and he holds, this thing is just destroying the city around him, and he flies in front and holds out Medusa's head to turn it to stone. But it's a very slow process. If he didn't have that, everything would have been wrecked, no matter how strong he is. That's the type of thing this is. There's very few people that can take it on, including your heroes. And the mythic encounter makes it feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
jeez.
Oh man, the cost of Archetypes is a beast too, and that's just the year 23.
Yeah, there's a lot. I don't want to get into all of them because honestly, it's a lot just covering this. But I wanted you guys to get a feeling, as Austin had said, of the grand size that they're going for.
Yeah, this is the type of stuff that I'm all about, because I always love the end game stuff, and it's very rare that any campaign or any characters actually get there. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Because I think what you said, I know you looked up it a while ago. I think it was what most people get to levels
float around level 10.
10.
I just realized how easy it would be to create adventures and campaigns. It's let's check my book of Preakness.
Yeah. It's really exciting. There's a lot to it. It's obviously bigger and badder than any of the stuff that they generated so far.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, so I think that'll do it for our main topic today. Would you guys want to run something like this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, check it out. Mythic Odysseys of Theros. The physical copy will be releasing next month on the 21st.
21st, I believe.
On the 21st. So after our Honor Tips and Tricks, we are going to give away a free copy that'll show up on your doorstep
Eventually.
at some point on either the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, someday, a couple days after release.
Yep, 21st.
Why don't you, if you are watching this and would like to participate in this, I'm going to go ahead and ask you all to type in... I need a really cool one-liner. I should have thought about this in advance. Right? We can make it easy and just be a number, but that's so lame. Right? How about everyone type in Nat20 in the chat, regardless if you're on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. And Ian here, while we're going over the next few minutes, we'll pick a winner, and we will announce that at the end of our Honor Tips and Tricks. How's that sound? Can you handle that?
Give me some dice.
I don't have any dice. Go grab that box of dice over there.
I got it.
Thank you. So that'll do it for our main topic today. Before we move on into our Honor Tips and Tricks, we have another gift to give away. Compliments of Jeff Stevens. We are giving away The Scourge of Nightingale Part 1, A Song of Love. A wonderful, fascinating Part 1 of a trilogy adventure. A masked menace A masked menace terrifies the region, raiding villages to fund her devious plan. Unknowingly, the adventurers stumble into her most recent evil scheme, the kidnapping of a famous performer known as Devon Artis. Their mission is to deliver a ransom and collect Devon, though, as in most cases, not all goes as planned. Who's our winner today, Austin?
Our winner today is Fred Pertel.
Congrats.
I still always think about how the fact that it says, though in most cases, so there's still a weird case where, yes, everything does go as planned. It will never leave me.
I don't know that that's ever happened, though.
Though in most cases, not all goes as planned. But I don't know. The implication is still there to me, like just the way it's
gives
written.
You hope.
Yeah.
Gives you some hope.
It's like,
That's funny.
maybe somehow, one way. There's like maybe it's like a 1 in 1,000 chance of everything going smoothly. Like it just works. I just want to believe.
That's funny. Alrighty. So congratulations, Fred Pertel. If you didn't win, don't worry. Head on over to critacademy.com/Jeff Stevens. And Jeff's got some good loot for you. You can pick up Villains in Layers 3 and Encounter on the Savage Seas 3 for free. Pick them both up, alright?
Woo.
I gotta actually listen because
Yeah.
I won't hear when it's over.
And now, what you've all been waiting for. Our Unearthed Tips and Tricks segment, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
It's still good though.
It's so awesome. I haven't heard it in a while, so it's about time.
Yeah.
I am really excited to talk about our character concept. If you don't know, this is something that actually is really interesting to me and I thought was really fun. Honestly, if you submitted this, please tell me because I couldn't figure out where it came from. So I don't know if this was something that was gathered a long time ago or whatever, but please let me know. It is a witch. Basically, that's one of the classes in Archetypes that really doesn't currently exist in 5e, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
So this person recommends reflavoring a Lord Bard. Cutting Words is a fantastic curse along with many Bard spells such as Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Bane, and Sleep. Plus, you can grab any spells that you're missing with magical secrets like Conjure Animals, Ritual Caster Feat to find forbidden lore, and of course, you gotta have a Black Cat familiar with the Find Familiar spell,
yeah, absolutely,
right?
yeah.
This is something that was interesting to me because I don't know that
I really don't know if you could create it any other way.
it works really, really
Yeah,
well.
it
Vicious
fits a lot of
Mockery
it.
is a great curse. Reflavoring Cutting Words, I mean... And what's interesting is you could change what those curses are from a flavor standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we talk about Vicious Mockery as I'm hurting you with my voice with magic or whatever. But instead, it could be something more along the lines of your family will be cursed for eternity to walk alone. And maybe that spike of energy startles or scares the person and is that psychic attack. Or it could be something more...
almost like a written, like, words, like a hex.
Yeah,
almost.
maybe something that appears across their head, cursed forever, or some ancient rune, like using a hand-drawn symbol as a player, like out of Draconic or something that says, I curse this person, and this, sigil appears across their forehead.
Right.
And so something like that. And so, for instance, it could be something that takes place in advance, like with the Cutting Words is like a reaction, right? So maybe you could reflavor that you already curse the person by just saying you did, and so when they go to attack, you impose that disadvantage with the Cutting Words, or that penalty for Cutting Words, not disadvantage. But
And Carp again points out that a tome lock could also be a good witch.
I was thinking that too. You could do like
that's a
a
good one. I like that.
a tome lock, yeah.
Because she gets the little familiar person too, so they can actually attack and stuff.
Well, I guess that'd be the chain would give you the
Isn't that what you're talking
familiar.
about?
The tome would give you something else.
Well, you can use Find Familiar as a spell.
Oh, yeah, I guess you
okay,
could do
gotcha,
that.
I gotcha,
Yeah,
I gotcha.
I guess you
But
could
using
just
the chain lock.
yeah.
The what?
Using the chain lock.
I was
Back
thinking
in
the
the
chain
chain?
lock in order
That's
to
what I
get the
was thinking.
familiar. Yeah.
Okay, but the tome actually gives it to you.
Tome
too.
gives you some good stuff
The
from what I
Magniloquent
remember.
Witch.
The what?
The Magniloquent Witch.
I like it. This is something I thought really cool. Like I said, I don't know. This was just in my brainstorm stuff, and there was no tag on it, so I don't know who gave it to me. If it's something one of us wrote or what, but I thought it was an awesome idea. The idea of playing a witch. When I play Path of Exile, that's the second time I mentioned that game today. When I play Path of Exile, my favorite class is the witch because there's just a sort of scariness that comes with that kind of persona, and I think it would be fun in that situation to be able to play a bard that's more of a dark, scary person like a warlock, and maybe has big warts on her face. Maybe she's hideous and her high charisma is due to her silvery tongue and not her looks.
Maybe she's just very fearful presence as well.
This sounds awesome.
Tome for Vicious Mockery.
Yes, I love it. I think that'll do it for our character concept, the Witch.
Pretty good.
Austin, would you like to tell us about our monster variant today?
Yeah, absolutely. So our monster variant today is the Arena Trickster.
Ooh.
It's not enough to surprise your opponent. You have to delight the crowd as well. The origin is from the Drow Elite Warrior. You're going to lose some features, though, like the Dark Vision, Fey Ancestry, Sunlight Sensitivity, and...
The entire spell list.
The entire spell. I thought it was like a spell list and there was going to be a list, but no, it's the entire thing. It's gone. But you do gain some new features, like some new spells. You gain Blade Ward, you get Absorb Elements, and Catapult.
I love Catapult.
Catapult.
Food fight, just freaking bread shit
Yeah.
across the kitchen.
It's like going at like Mach 2. You get Master of Tactics, so the Trickster can use the help action as a bonus action. Additionally, when using the help action to aid an ally in attacking a creature, the target of the attack can be within 30 feet of the Trickster, rather than within 5 feet. Sound familiar? It should.
Yeah,
if the target can see or hear the Trickster. And they also get Misdirection. The Trickster can sometimes cause another creature to suffer an attack meant for it. When the Trickster is targeted by an attack, while a creature within 5 feet of the Trickster is granting it cover against the attack, the Trickster can use its reaction to have the target or the attack target that creature instead of the Trickster. So pretty much it does one of these.
Mate, shield.
Well, this is actually really cool because I hadn't thought about this. When you're hiding behind an ally or a creature, behind a creature, they actually grant you partial cover. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think we can't forget that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. So if you want to be more tactical, that's something to include.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have saved that for a player tip because damn, that was good. Anyways,
Anyway, yeah. Well,
so this is actually based off another Theros card. This will be the last in the Theros collection that I do. I really like this one. The art was really fun. The content was funny. We always hear about the Arena Fighter Barbarian, but having the one who's kind of just out there screwing everyone over through mischievous tricks and bullshit, throwing sand in people's eyes and everything.
Yeah.
This sounded like it'd be a lot of fun. The art in the Arena Trickster's ability and the card actually lets it do get stronger when people cast spells. So the Absorb Elements just seemed like a good fitting spell for that
not bad.
theme.
It's a good idea.
So overall, what do you guys think about this?
I like it because the Master of Tactics is quite literally like the I'm an asshole and I'm going to throw like sand in your eyes kind of thing.
Pocket sand.
Yeah, like it's stuff like that. Like it's not about the like I'm going to help you like his weak spots there. Like no, it's just him being a dick. Like he's calling you names. He's throwing sand at you. He's going to
tie your shoelaces together.
Yeah, I don't know,
Trip
like
and fall.
something.
Run up behind you and quickly tie their shoes.
Or maybe he ran around the arena with like a rope tied to part of the wall, and he's running around and like someone's chasing him, and he finally gets enough away and goes, and he
Falls in
whoops
the
it up, and goes one of those.
causing them to stumble just enough that it grants advantage. So maybe not knock them down, but grant them help.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this an awesome feature. Is it's not a character in and of themselves that's really strong, but they can make the other enemies more terrifying. Because a berserker not a berserker, a veteran or some sort of barbarian creature is far more dangerous when they have advantage on every attack.
When they have any form of support, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
And this is definitely a support style character. It's
Yeah.
very good.
All right, I think that'll do it for our monster variant.
The Arena
Ian?
Trickster.
Yeah, the Arena Trickster. Ian, would you like to tell us about our encounter concept, the Grey Fog?
The Grey Fog, a shadow over Pinewood by Val Serene. A mysterious grey fog surrounds Pinewood at night. It's a magical fog of madness. Creatures who spend more than 10 minutes within the fog and breathing it without magical protection must succeed on the DC 15 Charisma save or suffer a level of short-term madness.
Uh-oh.
That's never good.
No, that lasts for 1 minute. For each additional hour a creature remains in the fog without a level of short-term madness, they must make another saving throw, with the DC increasing by increments of 5 to a maximum of 30. Yeah. And it starts off at 15.
That stacks up pretty quick.
Oh yeah. The fog borders the Shadowfell and to an extent, pandemonium, and infuses creatures that remain within it for too long with elements of the maddening magic that lies there. If a creature with an intelligence of 6 or higher spends more than 6 hours within the fog at any given time, it immediately becomes afflicted with indefinite madness. The creature is immune to the effects of the Grey Fog then.
So anybody that follows our monthly patron adventures, our patrons recently were constantly rolling for on the madness table, right? Mm-hmm. And this effect, I really love the Shadow over Pinewood adventure, but this was something that really enhanced the terror, because if you don't tell the players why they're rolling, and then just say you now have this, that becomes terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Because they don't know why they're getting it.
Right. You just went out into the fog. You don't know that fog is causing it. I mean, how often do you guys trape through fog? Pretty regularly, I'd imagine. What's interesting, though, is it would be a good opportunity for the person who really loves lore to maybe be able to dig into this and give them a couple arcana or history checks to really dig in some of the mysterious gray fog.
The sage would actually have a lot of fun with that.
Yes, I would. That's a good one. I like that. That's a good one.
I could imagine like a scenario like this would be an argument for having a DM roll saves or player saves or skill checks behind the DM screen.
I would agree with that. I know some people that pisses you off, and honestly, I don't care.
Because I can see the argument of, well, a player they roll so they know how well they did, but if a DM is behind the screen, they only know what the results are.
Yeah. And at some point, they may and that also makes it hard for them to understand the DC and whether the DC is changing, too.
Yeah.
So
there's benefits.
I really like this. It's something that you can drop into any campaign to instantly spike the terror, right? Especially when
the sense of danger.
Yeah, especially when you include indefinite madness. That's terrifying at low levels because it's not easy to get rid of.
No, it
hard. It requires high level magic, so or some sort of.
You can't just lesser restoration that stuff. Nope, that's there for a while.
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah, find someone who knows how to deal with it.
Yeah, and it like I said, the maddening magic is it's awesome, and I like that it ties to the Shadowfell, so you can kind of explore that aspect of the game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely good. I like it.
That'll do it for our encounter, the Gray Fog. Our magic item of the podcast is Sling Bullets of Alathamone. Alamone, ow. Athamone, ow. This is from the Theros book, and I picked it because it is the first item that I have ever seen that is a sling bullet magic item.
I never really thought about that.
I've never considered... I mean, now that when I think about it, I do see ammo +1 and stuff like that.
And that's about it.
But that's pretty much it. So this really jumped out at me, so I wanted to talk about it. So this is this weapon, and it says in quote sling bullet, is very rare. So it's the single one, or maybe you give the player a pouch of them, which is what this talks about. The sling bullets come in a pouch, which contains 1d4 + 4 bullets. Roll on the magic sling bullets table for each bullet to determine its magical property. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. The DM can roll in advance and say, here's what's in it. Or, like what I would do is, you figure it out when you hit somebody with it. Or take it to a sage or somebody that might be able to identify magic. Mm-hmm. Use for that spell right there that everyone says is stupid and don't need. So, what does it do? You have a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls, so that's awesome because the sling bullets are already like a D4 for damage.
Yeah, it's not super great.
So that's a pretty nice. That puts it in on par with like the crossbows, and crossbows, I think. If the bullets miss its target, the bullet teleports back into the pouch, so you don't lose it.
Wow. Okay.
Once a bullet hits a target, the bullet loses its magic.
Oh, okay.
That would be a shame thing to find out.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna get you. Goliath just looks at you. So here's where it gets interesting. What do the magic bullets do? Banishment. A creature takes damage from the bullet, must succeed a 15 con save or charisma save, or be banished though affected by the banishment spell. Not a super fan of the spell, but my players
we love it.
Use it very well.
We love the crap out of banishment,
which is great. You get fulguration, which on a hit, this bullet deals an extra D8 lightning damage to the target.
2d8.
2d8 damage to the target, and all of the creatures within 10 feet must make a DC 15 con save or take an additional D8 thunder damage. You have an AoE bullet, flashbang sort of thing, right? Explodes. Yeah. The stunning one. On a hit, the bullet deals an extra D10 force damage, and the target is stunned. No save. They're stunned. That's potent.
Oh wow!
That very much is. David swinging and hitting Goliath with this thing.
Yeah.
And now one of my favorite ones is the tracking. A creature that takes damage from this bullet is marked with a glowing rune where the bullet hit. The mark lasts for 24 hours. While the creature is marked, you always know its direction. That's cool. That is
really good.
really, really cool. I could see a magic bag with just those things being very useful. So, what do you guys think about this?
That's
Handy.
yeah. It doesn't seem like overpowered, so I guess I can agree with the very rare. I mean,
I only get limited use of it, so.
Yeah.
yeah,
Which is good. And what's
Could
cool
you-
is you're not punished if you miss.
yeah.
just, poof,
They come
teleports
back
back,
to your
which
pouch,
is pretty cool.
which is crazy.
As a DM, though, you could say that teleport power is always there. It just loses all its other benefits, so you have infinite seeds. Which would be kind of cool. That way
Yeah.
you can give a story reason on why you don't got to count ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always said the best part about a sling is you can put anything in that bastard and launch it. Pick up a rock, a beer bottle, a gnome, whatever you got, just right through
It's
it.
just keep on flinging stuff at him.
All right, I think that'll do it for our magic item, the sling bullets of Olathamano Monet. I don't think I said that the same any time.
Nope.
No.
It's different every time. Whatever.
Yeah.
Austin, would you like to tell us about our Dungeon Master tip today?
Yep, it's from Trickotome, I guess.
That's pretty good. There's a
Uh,
link in the show
Trickotome.
notes to this full article.
Check up on your players and their sheets. Not their shit, their sheets.
Their sheets.
While players should be keeping their sheets up to date, I can tell you from experience they often won't, or they will not, or they will, but not give them to you. While in doing so, you leave yourself open to some problems. Sad as it is, some players will exploit your lack of oversight to do things which can ultimately be a detriment to the game and their fellow players.
Cheaters.
Yeah. Other times they'll make mistakes or forget things.
Yep.
I had one player give themselves a powerful ability they shouldn't have for another 4 levels because they didn't notice the prerequisite.
Why is that guy killing stuff in one shot?
While another hadn't given himself feats or skill points for the last 3 levels because he was still learning the system and didn't know what to add on his sheet. It's these kinds of things that can easily be fixed by having your players give you regular sheet updates.
Like, I'll admit, I don't really keep track of ammo, so.
Yeah, I don't either, but
I don't
that's okay.
think any of us do.
I've never turned to you and was like, all right, do you have enough of those arrows?
I played some games where that happened, and then, to be honest, those games never lasted long.
What do you guys think about this tip?
It's a good tip.
I like it's a good tip, but I feel like it's one that's very like we wouldn't need it.
No.
At least as far as I'm aware. Like I
Nope,
feel like we're
I'm
all
very
pretty
loosey-goosey.
Yep.
yeah.
But
Well-
there are some people that would be
Oh yeah, for sure.
malicious and
I can definitely think of
try to
some
make
players
their
that I played
characters
with
better than
before.
they should
who-
be.
Shoot,
who
there are
made it.
some RPGs that where DMs might want to do that pure, like Shadowrun, for example. Like, I swear the character sheets involve like string theory when it comes to calculating.
And not everyone knows string theory.
Yeah.
Or means of masterminds. There are so many ways to break the game that you basically need DM involvement when character building, because if somebody knows what they're doing,
They're gonna break it.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna be
and
honest.
I've had DMs say, "Ian, you're not doing that."
I know.
And that's hey, you know.
building powerful characters isn't generally a bad thing as a DM, because I can always, for me personally, can customize the encounters to account for that. Though I can't customize them to account for banishment.
Maybe they have surprisingly high
using
charisma.
the masterminds for an example, I basically built a
Counterspell.
character who was basically immortal.
Yeah, and
As in, as in my original build, every generation, and if I die, I come back to life.
but that was within the rules, right?
Yeah.
See, that's within the rules. This, we're talking about somebody that doesn't know the system, not getting what they should, or getting something they shouldn't have, or somebody just trying to cheat the system.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe somebody actually did do a good job of building their character. Like, you can do that? Just a double check.
Right. Yeah, because sometimes it is. Like with Ian, he makes some pretty powerful characters. If I didn't know he was already a power gamer, I would have to check that shit like regularly.
I wish I was a power gamer.
Well, you do build some pretty potent characters. Though some of it is through roleplay. That stupid clipboard got you pretty goddamn far.
That clipboard got us super far.
Oh, yeah.
That clipboard got me advantage on checking out that mech with the giant laser. I was like, yeah.
Surprise inspection.
All right,
That clipboard was godlike.
I think that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip. Check up on your players and their sheets. That is from Trickotome. There is a link on our blog. You can head on over to critacademy.com/post/episode 176. Or just click the blog if this is recent, because otherwise you have to find it. But,
Yeah.
all right. moving on to our player tip of the podcast.
Don't be a dick.
Oh, I've been waiting so long to do that.
Right?
I missed it.
Can't
Was that
believe-
weird?
No.
Nah.
And you can avoid dickitude by getting the most out of your actions.
This is huge.
Yes.
Immediately.
If you want to create a powerful character, try to make sure you can reliably do something with all of your actions. In a game of 5 people, if each person's turn takes 2 minutes, that's a long wait.
Yep.
That's 10 minutes.
That's a long wait. Now, in the time of how long we play, that's not super long, but that's still a long wait to be sitting around. So you really want to make sure that you squeeze as much out of those turns as you can. This is mostly towards more power gamey type stuff, but also something that every player should be kind of aware of, right?
Oh, yeah.
For instance, each character gets an action, they get a reaction, they get a move action, they get a bonus action, right?
Use all 4.
You do whatever you can to utilize all 4. Now, there are some classes that are better at this than others.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the rogue.
The rogue is a great example, right? They can put themselves in positions for op attacks. They can put themselves in. They can utilize their cunning action to make to dash, to hide. Shit, I feel like there should be something else. Disengage.
Yep.
So they're already built that way, but not all classes are. So while you don't always have to use all of them, having the option to do 3 cool things per turn instead of just 1 attack makes you more likely to have a more fun and effective turn, right? So, for instance, with bonus actions, spells, oh my gosh, this can help you so much, and most classes can can acquire these in different ways, right? I'm thinking Healing Word is a really powerful one, right?
Yeah.
But there are certain rules, can't cast a non-cantrip spell with your action, but you can still take an action, whether that's dodge, whether that's attack, whether that's double move, disengage, whatever you want. You can do that and still heal somebody. If you're a bard, that includes your bardic inspiration. If you're a druid, that's combat wild. If you're rogue, that's cunning action. If you're a thief rogue, that's fast hands. This guy really utilized that shit great during
Fast
that
hands
5e
is so
game
underrated if you build for it.
Yeah,
Oh my lord.
It is actually surprisingly
So
useful.
good.
Because there's so many items you can use. The manacles and the rope and caltrops and switches and gauges and traps,
Chains.
everything. So
There's so much you can do.
So there's so much you can do with that, and even taking, is it 1 level you get the fighter healing ability?
Yeah.
At 1 level. So even if you just 1 level into fighter, you now have an emergency bonus action to use
Second
during
win.
a healing.
2 levels to get action surge.
Yeah, if you're gonna go into fighter, go 2 levels. Action surge.
Action
is
surge
the
is-
only way to break the limited
Like,
cantrip limitation, right?
I feel like there's others, but that's the easy one.
Yeah. So there's a lot you
Yeah.
can do with it. The other thing to consider that doesn't get nearly as much use, and I'm sure you guys have noticed it in my monsters and some of my magic items, is that reaction spells or reaction abilities are very few and far in between. There are some feats that let you gain access to that.
Yeah, there's, like, parry and stuff,
features.
too,
Yep.
sometimes,
So
so.
the martial archetypes for can parry. With the you can, if you're not a fighter, you can get the feat.
the feet. Yep.
We talked about earlier. I can't remember the name of the damn thing, but it gives you maneuvers.
Yeah.
The counter the counter spell, the shield spell,
Absorb elements.
absorb elements. There's the protection fighter.
Yep,
has,
protection fighter is a really good
reaction.
example.
That's awesome. It's super powerful.
Or the Goliath racial ability.
Yeah, Goliath racial ability is that not a bonus action? No, that's the damage reduction.
Yep.
So there are lots of ways. So.
Yeah. I still loved when you had a giant troll swing down the hammer against Thorg. I went. I catch the hammer.
He just caught it. So
That's
you
awesome.
really want to get the most out of them. There are some few things that you can do. Uncanny dodge is a really good one.
Uncanny dodge is so good.
Defensive duelist is awesome. So opportunity attacks. You can actually put yourself in a situation where you and party members can lure away enemies to trigger op attacks. That is important. It takes a little bit of team coordination, which, let's be honest, players don't usually do. But if you can, build your team out to capitalize on those extra actions in a turn. You can significantly increase your DPS or damage per round, DPR. So
I still laugh at a
Alright.
friend of mine built an NPC party of only 3 guys that were min-maxed. And they often kick the butts of the players because not only were they min-maxed, but they actually cooperated and coordinated with each other.
that's awesome.
Because they had the mind of one guy.
It helps.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys have any other pointers on this? I mean,
No, you covered that pretty well.
yeah,
Pretty
there's
thorough.
there's some really good stuff that you can do, and some of it requires multi-classing, but find a use for it. Otherwise, it's just wasted.
I've only recently just started multi-classing, and that was just from the one game that I played. And honestly, the amount of new things you can do is kind of absurd.
Yeah,
you never
If you know
really
what you're
think about-
doing, yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone talks about, oh, you miss out on the capstone.
Touch.
D&D
Bruh.
Beyond posted data that suggests that
Nobody hits level 20.
Yeah, very few people get to those levels. So why are you worried about it? Sure, okay, you might not get your extra attack at level 5, but I took 3 levels in fighter, got my primary abilities, and took 2 levels into rogue. Now my big great wheeled fighter now
Can
not
disengage and dash
Yeah.
whenever he wants.
Yes.
Think about that.
And backstab.
Oh, and you get backstab.
Well,
Let's
you
put
need
that.
finesse, but
Well, let's still
Not-
just put that in perspective real quick, though.
sneak
so,
attack, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you have this fighter. Sure, he can't attack twice in a turn, right? But now he has so
yes.
much utility that he just got from
You
just
dual wield.
and you can dual wield, like.
It's funny you say that because if you took the feat to carry 2 D8 weapons,
You can carry 2 longswords.
yeah, and
Yep.
and you can do a lot of damage, especially if you,
You-
can combine it with
I've done that before. It's so fun.
like the dash and the dash and dodge and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, 2 levels into wizard gives you lots of casting power. So, all right,
in case you didn't want to be an Eldritch Knight, just take 2 levels in Wizard. It's about the same thing.
Bladesinger actually.
Yeah, Blade Singer.
Or Bladesinger.
Yeah, so you take 2 levels in, get the Bladesinger feature, and take the rest up to fighter.
Now you're a god.
Yeah. So who needs Eldritch Knight, right?
It's kind of sad how little you actually need Eldritch Knight.
I don't know, man. I love being able to throw stuff and have it teleport back to me. That's
Or
one of my
teleport.
favorite.
You
That's
can
one of my
teleport,
favorite
too.
builds. Playing Noctis. You ever play Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah.
He throws the sword and you teleport to
yeah,
it.
so I mean, it
Anyways,
works, but yeah.
that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip of the podcast.
Don't be a dick.
Oh,
Well,
come on.
it was a player tip, actually.
What did I say?
Oh, yeah, you
Dungeon
said
Master tip.
Oh shit!
Right.
All right, that'll do it for our
player tip.
player tip of the podcast.
Don't be a dick!
And you can avoid dickitude by getting the most out of your actions. If you've come up with some intriguing or interesting combinations to always utilize all your actions, please send it to us at critacademy@gmail.com.
Yeah, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's
Yeah.
probably way more out there.
Yeah, I'm not a power gamer generally, so I miss out on a lot. That's why I always find player tips. So I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that. All right, so
Okay.
before we close out here,
We have a giveaway.
we have a giveaway. I'm really excited about this. We are giving away a physical copy of the Mythic Odysseys of Theros. Now, once again, for clarification, the book is not out yet. So we will have it shipped to you when it comes out on July 21st.
Shipping.
Yeah. I shit my pants. Anyways, so we're really excited. I want to thank everyone that joined us today. Ian has already picked a winner from those that participated.
More like I wrote down who's typed in that 20, and I'm going to roll for it.
Oh, you haven't done it yet? All right, let's see what we got. Oh,
Drum roll,
see-
please.
Oh, is there a drum roll button on
No, I
there?
don't think so.
Okay. Our winner today from Twitch, Tactical Bacon 81509.
I want to say
did it.
congratulations. This prize was brought to you by one of our most generous Patreon donors, New York Tater. Thank you so much for making this gift possible.
Yeah.
And all your continuous support. I know you're working hard, saving people's lives and all that stuff. So thank you for your service and congratulations. What's his name again? I done forgot. 'cause it's
Tactical
not right.
Bacon.
Tactical Bacon.
What an awesome name.
That's
Congratulations. So send us. Do you have them in any sort of personal chat?
In Twitch.
Okay. Send them a personal message, and we will get the information from you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now that that's all done, let's bring this bad boy to a close.
Oh yeah.
Please join us on our next episode, where we'll be discussing Mythic Encounters, because I didn't talk about it nearly enough, and I want to talk about it more.
I would love to talk about it more, so I'm okay with that.
Me too. There was a supplement
other-
that released on DM's Guild called Mythic Encounters, and it gives mythic powers to a bunch of the most badass monsters in the monster manual. So I'm like super like.
Does that mean you're gonna give Zariel a mythic power? Could be cool. Could mean we can get some more levels, so that way we can get a bigger boss battle.
Maybe we'll see.
Could be
How do you know
great.
Zariel's the boss?
Well,
Oh yeah, you have the book, you ass.
she could. Well, okay. She could
See?
be the boss technically.
This bastard-
Technically, there could be a lot of other choices, but she's the most primary.
And the one you hear about the most early on too. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard. Is it really that hard to figure that out?
Don't sass me.
Well, I'm just asking.
No, I don't care that she's on the cover.
Yeah,
don't know
and
that
the
she's
back,
the boss.
actually. She's on the back as well.
Whatever.
She's
Anyways.
everywhere.
So I'm really excited for that.
Oh, man. Anyway, if you have any feedback on their tips or tricks or topics you would like us to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everywhere else at Crit Academy.
Carmageddon's like, Zariel deserves mythic stuff.
Therefore...
We'll see. Therefore, I need to include it.
Exactly.
Well, we'll see.
Which means we're probably going to die now.
I'll see what I can do.
It's probably guaranteed we're going to die now.
We hope you enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others find our show by leaving a hopefully 5-star review on iTunes. Thank you guys so much for leaving iTunes review. I just started reading more of those. I think I want to start reading them on after the show or something. I don't know.
That could be fun,
Some
yeah.
of them are really good. And gets me all like tingly and my dice trembling. It's really exciting. Please, or if you don't want to leave a review, please just send us a message telling us how much you enjoy the show. I really like getting those. It really makes it worth the amount of work that we put in. Also, be sure to give us a like and a share. We're always posting really great content on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. So, yeah. So make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com. Follow us on Twitch and on YouTube. Please follow us on YouTube. We want to get those numbers up. That way we can help you and other people on your future adventures, as well as be entered to win cool prizes each and every single week. Make sure to check out our fellowship members there as well. If you have not checked out the awesome podcast, Gabe and Jeff at Interparty Conflict. Their podcast is awesome. It is my favorite podcast to listen to because I hate hearing the sound of my own voice. Otherwise, mine will probably be up there a little bit. It's one of my favorite podcasts. Those guys are awesome. They answer great questions, and their discussions are funny as hell. Also, if you're not following the Kind GM on Twitter or Facebook, please do. He's got all kinds of great content for you guys to check out. So,
Yeah. I think that'll do it.
that'll do it. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Austin.
And I'm your co-host Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.
Woohoo!